She's just the target girl. What could she possibly know about shooting? The SEAL's voice dripped with sarcasm as Nora Camden walked past the firing line. She wasn't in uniform, just a student working part-time at the range. But when frustration boiled over and a rifle was thrown down, she spoke up calmly, pointing out mistakes no one else dared mention. Seconds later, the chief handed her the weapon. 8 elite operators watched, waiting to see if the quiet girl could prove them all wrong. Before we begin, tell us, where are you watching from? And if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive. The steel plate rang once, a clean bell across the valley. Commander Adrian Keaton didn't flinch. Again, he ordered. Nora Camden cycled the bolt. Her cheek stayed firm on the stock. The countdown timer glowed 40 seconds. She breathed out, half a lungful. Dial 6.2. Hold 08 left. The reticle steadied. Crack. Ding. Another clean strike. The commander's eyes flicked to the clock. 34 seconds. One more shot. Then the image cut. 3 hours earlier. Pala shooting range. San Diego County. The morning air was sharp, salt mixed with dust. Flags on the berm twitched in uneven gusts. Mirage shimmered low over the lanes. Nora unlocked the range shack at 600 a.m. She rolled out paper silhouettes, painted fresh steel. The reservation board showed 6 lanes marked in red NSW det. Bravo! She tucked a loose strand of hair beneath her cap. Another day of hauling targets, sweeping brass. Her nursing textbooks waited at home. 2 black SUVs pulled in just after 7. 8 men stepped out, cases and gear bags in hand. Their pace was deliberate, quiet, controlled. Chief Petty Officer Cole Redding led them. He didn't bark orders, didn't need to. The rest moved on his rhythm. Tyler McKay was different. Younger, shoulders high, restless eyes. He gripped his rifle case like it might escape. They claimed lanes 6 through 12. Within minutes, mats were rolled, rifles set. Boxes of 175-grain match rounds lined the benches. Nora kept to the side, clipboard tucked tight. Her job was simple: replace targets, record hits, stay invisible. The first strings began at 550 yards. Nora's eyes tracked through spotting glass. She'd seen thousands of shooters, but McKay stood out immediately. His elbow jammed in too tight. His cheek shifted every shot. His trigger hand slapped instead of pressed. The first round kicked dirt 3 feet left. Second tore high and wide. Third missed the frame entirely. McKay cursed under his breath. Something's wrong with this rifle. He slammed the bolt hard enough to rattle brass. Redding crouched near him. Check your press. Reset. But the next 2 shots flew just as bad. The other SEALs chuckled low. One muttered, "Door kicker. Not a marksman." McKay's jaw clenched tighter. Nora swapped a fresh target at the berm. Through the glass, she could see his shoulders locked. Every miss dragged him deeper into frustration. Finally, McKay yanked clear of the rifle. "This piece is screwed. No way it holds 0. His voice carried down the line. Silence fell. Even the flag seemed to pause. And Nora heard her own voice before she could stop it. "You're pulling left." Anticipating recoil. 3 simple words, but the range froze. 8 heads turned toward her. A 23-year-old student in a range cap, calling out a Navy SEAL. Nora felt her stomach drop, but she remembered her father's rule: never excuse a bad shot. Master yourself before blaming the tool. McKay barked a short laugh. Seriously? The target girl. He shook his head, heat in his face. Chief Redding didn't laugh. He studied her a moment. "You think you can do better?" Nora hesitated. Every instinct said back away, but silence would mean retreat. "Yes, Chief," she said. Her voice was steadier than she felt. Behind Redding, Ethan Glasby squinted. "Camden?" he asked quietly. Victor Camden's kid. Nora blinked. "He's my father." Recognition passed over Glasby's features. Master Gunny Camden taught at sniper school. Legend. The tone shifted a fraction. Redding weighed her. The range officer's voice crackled over the radio 10 minutes before hotline. Redding nodded once. He handed her McKay's rifle. "Same target. Same wind. You've got 10. The weapon was heavier than her father's old Remington. Nora checked chamber and safety. Bolt smooth, mag seated, she lowered into prone. McKay muttered, "This is insane." But no one echoed him. 8 operators watched in silence. The wind pushed steady at 6, maybe 9 miles an hour. Mirage boiled left to right. The shot would drift. Nora set her elbows firm. Stock pocketed tight. She lined the reticle, whispered to herself, "Bone support, relax grip, press straight." Her father's lessons, one after another. She let her lungs half empty. Found the pause. The range timer clicked down. 9 minutes, 20 seconds. First shot about to break. Nora's palms rested flat on the mat. The rifle pressed solid into her shoulder. She whispered the check to herself. Clear. Chamber. Safe. She pulled the mag, reseated it with a sharp tap. The bolt locked forward clean. No panic. Just motion drilled into memory. Chief Redding crouched nearby. "Your line." Clock running. 9 minutes left. The steel plate waited at 550 yards. Sunlight glanced across the berm. Flags flicked in uneven rhythm. Nora let her body sink into the dirt. Elbows planted, bone to ground. She felt the rifle settle into natural aim. Her right hand closed around the stock. Firm, not crushing. Her father's metaphor echoed, "Hold it like a bird." Breath in, breath out, half release, pause, reticle steadied. Wind 6 to 9, left quarter. She murmured. She dialed elevation, held 0.6 mil left. The crosshair floated steady. Crack. The rifle bucked, through the glass. Ethan Glasby called, "Impact, center mass." McKay scowled but said nothing. The others shifted forward. Silence deepened. Nora worked the bolt smooth. Second round slid in. She didn't lift her cheek from the stock. Breath again. Slow. Trigger press straight back. Crack. Touching the first. Glasby said quietly. A ripple passed through the men. Even Redding's jaw tightened a notch. Nora chambered the third. She checked the Mirage. Still drifting left. Correction 0.7 mil. She squeezed. Crack. Dust puffed in the exact line of the first 2. Glasby lowered the scope. 1.8-inch group. Dead center. He didn't raise his voice, but the words cut through. Redding gave a single nod. He turned, scanning the team. "McKay, your turn. Her instructions. Follow them." McKay stiffened. This is a waste. But the look from Redding left no choice. Nora slid aside. McKay dropped into prone, jaw tight. He shoved the mag in too hard. "Relax your grip," she said. Her voice stayed level, not mocking. "Let the bones hold, not the muscle." He adjusted grudgingly. "Cheek will keep it the same each shot." He nodded once, eyes hard. Nora leaned just close enough. "Don't choke the trigger, straight back. Steady. Let it surprise you." McKay exhaled through his nose. The rifle cracked. The round struck steel with a low ring. McKay blinked. Another shot. Closer this time, near center. His breathing steadied without him noticing. Third shot. A puff on the right edge. Still on steel. Redding folded his arms. "Better. That's the point. No more. No less." McKay rolled off the line. Silent. For once he didn't argue. Nora could feel the weight of his glance. She safed the rifle and set it down. Her pulse caught up with her, hands faintly trembling. 8 operators had just watched her coach one of their own. The radio crackled again. "Line goes hot in 5. Training would resume." Redding spoke low. "You saw it fast. Explained it clean. That matters more than the group." He checked his watch, then raised his voice. Bravo reset for the next lane." The men moved without delay. Rifles slung, brass swept, targets marked. Nora gathered the clipboard. She caught Glasby's eye as he passed. He gave a small nod, almost a smile. Her chest tightened with the sudden release of tension. She hadn't just fired 3 shots. She'd crossed a line she hadn't known existed. The timer hit 0. The whistle blew. Live fire resumed. Nora stepped back to the shadows. Range staff again, quiet and unseen. But the air felt changed. McKay stood apart, arms crossed. He didn't mock this time. He seemed to replay each word she'd said. Redding walked the line, calm as ever. His glance returned to Nora once. Deliberate. Not a question, an acknowledgement. The sound of rifles filled the valley. Sharp reports, brass clattering, echoes rolling. Nora listened, but her mind was still on that perfect group. What had been a careless comment had turned into proof. Proof under pressure, with a clock ticking. Proof they couldn't ignore. And somewhere behind the noise, she felt her father's voice. Master yourself first, then the tool. The range quieted. Engines hummed at the gate. A black sedan rolled to a stop. The men straightened almost instinctively. Doors opened. Crisp steps on gravel. Commander Adrian Keaton emerged. Navy dress blues. Cap angled sharp. Eyes scanning the line without pause. Authority carried in every step. Chief Redding moved to meet him. Training progressing. Sir. Keaton's gaze flicked past him. He saw the rifle resting near Nora. He saw her standing still, clipboard tucked close. One brow rose, questioning. Redding didn't flinch. Camden assisted with fundamentals. Result speaks for itself. His tone remained steady. Keaton stepped forward. Is that so? His voice was measured. Not warm. The SEALs shifted uneasily. Nora felt their eyes cut toward her. Her throat tightened, but she didn't look away. The commander studied the steel at 550 yards. Then he looked back at Redding. Not enough. He pointed downrange. Farther. Higher. Steel plate. 900. 12-inch circle. 2 minutes. The words landed heavy. No one spoke. Keaton gestured to Nora. Take the rifle. Show me. Her pulse kicked hard. 900 yards, crosswind quartering, timer cruelly short. Still. She nodded. Redding handed her the rifle. Your call. Dial or hold. She dropped into prone. Dirt pressed cold under her elbows. Scope framed the tiny plate in haze. Keaton's watch beeped. 2 minutes. Begin. The clock started counting down. Nora adjusted elevation 6.2 mils. Wind flickered across the mirage. She called 0.8 mil left hold. Breath. Pause. Press. Crack. The rifle recoiled straight. Ding! A faint metallic chime carried back. The men exhaled together. Keaton's face didn't move. Again, his tone clipped. Nora reset. Mirage bent suddenly right. Flags told another story. She read it fast. Quartering gust shifting downrange. Correction. Hold 0.5 left. Bolt cycled. Cheek weld steady. Press smooth. No slap. Crack. Ding. Second note stacked over the first. Time 40 seconds left. Her chest rose. Controlled. 1 round remained. This was the test within the test. The crosshair floated a hair high. She adjusted fractionally. Breath out. Stillness. Her heart thudded once. Trigger broke clean. Crack. Silence stretched. Ding. 3 for 3. Nora held her cheek against the stock. Only then did she lift her head. Breath released in a slow stream. The timer buzzed. 0 seconds remaining. She'd used every beat. Keaton lowered his binoculars, his expression unreadable, but his eyes lingered on her. Redding stood silent, letting the weight hang. The SEALs shifted, not daring to fill the air. McKay looked stunned, jaw tight but eyes wide. Finally, Keaton spoke. Remarkable under pressure. It was closer to an observation than praise. He drew a pen from his breast pocket, scrawled on a notepad tucked inside, tore the sheet clean. He handed it to Redding. Record of performance. From my file. Then his gaze returned to Nora. Camden. Tomorrow you observed at Bravo Advanced Drills. Unofficial. Consider this an evaluation. His words were flat, but the implication clear. She was being tested again. Nora nodded once. Understood, sir? Her voice held. Keaton snapped his pad shut. Resume training. He turned toward the sedan without ceremony. Engines roared. Gravel crunched. The car rolled out as smoothly as it had come. Dust settled back into silence. The team remained quiet. 3 shots hung heavier than 1,000 words. McKay finally muttered, "That's insane." Glasby only shook his head. Not insane. Disciplined. His voice carried respect. Redding placed the memo into a folder. He didn't look at Nora when he spoke. "You'll need to be on time tomorrow." Nora gathered her clipboard. Her hands no longer shook. The adrenaline burned, but steadiness remained. The rest of the afternoon blurred, live fire resumed, drills cycled, brass scattered. Yet the memory of those 3 shots never faded. Each man had seen it, under command scrutiny, with a clock running. She had delivered. Nora packed targets at sunset. The wind had eased, flags limp, but she still felt the weight of Keaton's stare. Not admiration, not warmth. Recognition. A new door cracking open. The next morning came gray and cool. Fog clung to the valley floor. Nora pulled her cap low, clipboard under one arm. Det. Bravo was already on the line. Marines joined them today. Cross-unit drills. Targets stretched from 300 to 1000 yards. Chief Redding called orders. Rifles cracked in sequence. Brass tinkling on gravel. But something was wrong. Impacts scattered wide at the 700-yard mark. Rounds drifted unpredictably. Frustration crept in across the firing line. Instructors adjusted wind calls. Numbers didn't hold. Steel plates stayed silent. Nora stood back, observing. Her role was unofficial. Still, her eyes tracked the mirage. The shimmer bent in 2 directions at once. High stream pulling left, ground current pushing right. She traced it with her finger on the clipboard. Redding noticed her stillness. "Camden," he called low. "What are you seeing?" She hesitated. All eyes turned again, waiting. Her heart pounded once. "The berm curls the air," she said. "Top current's dragging left. Near soil, it pulls back right. That's why holds fail at mid-flight." Her words came fast, clear. Redding nodded. "Show them." He pulled her forward. Nora crouched near the whiteboard. She sketched quick arcs, arrows bending opposite. Shift 0.2 mil higher. Hold 0.4 left mid-flight, then fade to 0.2 at 700. Skeptical looks lingered. But the team adjusted scopes. Dialed as she said. Shots cracked again. This time steel sang. Ding, ding, ding. Plates rang in sequence. Rhythm returning. Marines grinned at one another. Even McKay lowered his rifle. Eyes surprised. The correction held. Commander Keaton had been there all along. Arms folded, expression carved from stone. Now he stepped closer. He watched the steel echo, then glanced at the diagram Nora had scrawled. His silence carried weight. Finally he spoke. Instructional impact observed. 3 words clipped. Final. He pulled a memo slip from his folder, signed with quick precision, handed it to Redding. "File this." His gaze cut back to Nora. "You may continue observation. That will be all." He walked away without flourish, but the note remained. Black ink on white. A record no one could erase. Redding slid it into a folder. He didn't meet her eyes, but his voice was low. Not many get that from him. The day wore on. Drills cycled smoother, wind now accounted for. Nora faded again to the background, clipboard steady. Yet she felt the shift. Respect unspoken, but real. The air between operators carried it. By evening, targets were stacked. Brass collected. The fog had burned off into gold light. She headed home, boots dusty. Her father sat at the kitchen table, coffee steaming, newspaper folded aside. He watched her place the memo down. The words were simple, performance noted. Instructional impact observed. Victor Camden read it once. He didn't smile, but his eyes softened. "Master yourself first," he said quietly. "Then the tool." "You remembered." His voice carried no surprise, only certainty. Nora nodded. The tension of 2 days drained slow. She felt lighter, steadier. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered on instinct. "Miss Camden." The voice was crisp, professional. "Dana Whitfield, Praxis Precision Group." Nora straightened. "Yes." Her pulse jumped again. "We've heard of your evaluation. We specialize in training contracts for military and law enforcement. We need instructors who see what others miss." Dana's tone was calm, matter of fact. "Would you consider a meeting?" Nora looked at the memo on the table. Her father's hand rested beside it. She breathed once. Yes, ma'am, I would. Her answer carried no hesitation. Opportunity had knocked, and she was ready. Dana continued. We'll work around your studies. The pay is competitive. More importantly, the work saves time, ammunition, and sometimes lives. Her words rang clear through the line. Nora felt the weight of choice. The call ended with arrangements for next week. Silence filled the kitchen again. Her father leaned back, mug raised. You've earned it, he said. Not dramatic, not loud. A simple truth. Outside. The valley wind stirred again. Nora imagined the steel ringing far away, a sound she would never forget. She wasn't just a student anymore, not just a range assistant. She was something more. Her skills had spoken in front of warriors, her voice had steadied under command, and a door had opened because of it. The night settled quiet. She closed her eyes for a moment, the echoes of ding, ding, ding still in her mind. Tomorrow would bring new tests, but tonight, the path was clear. She had crossed the threshold. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.